Both teams look pretty calm and composed
and referee
at the moment. And our on-field referee will get things underway. Hooter sounds in the background. Women's 20s gold medal match is underway. Ashurst. Sykes through the hands. Duff steps back infield. Long ball out and space for the Australians. The referees will take this one back from them though. Forward pass, you could only presume would be the call.
A really solid start there from Australia, moving the ball right to left on attack. New Zealand a little bit slow to respond, fortunate to get the call for the forward pass, and will now turn this into attack.
Down the right sideline they come. Nice meters just kicking on the outside there. Mustin gets them going forward. They need to continue their flow. Karina. Pick up and go from half. Feeds it out the back. A little bit of space to work with on the right-hand side. They end up running out of real estate, flicking it back on the inside.
New Zealand there just unsure on the touch count. They actually had another one in hand. They went wide when it was only on the fourth, so something they'll want to address when they come back into the sub-box again.
Contact on Sykes. She came forward downfield, but they put the ball through the hands nicely. As the changes will come onto the field now for Australia. Holly Raff. Some going forward. Nice roll into the line. Last touch for them. They do have the numbers out there, but the pass just going to be thrown in time. Touch and pass is the call. So nice defensive set there for New Zealand.
Yeah, showed a lot more balance and connectedness defensively there. So far, good start. Let's see if they can turn this into some momentum for them as they transition up the field.
This is where Australia's been pretty good throughout the game so far. There's no one at home here for New Zealand.
Yeah, Alicia McCoy just isolated there as she was moving forward on the field. So getting players onto the field for New Zealand is really key if they want to stay competitive with Australia.
Get a relieving repeat set after Maggie O'Reilly got hands on the football. And they need a half in place here because it is a play the ball rather than a tap to restart. Not too many metres off the first touch. Monroe. It's a nice ball linking back up with APYTC. Comes in field. Inside the 7, Matai left foot, has a dive in at the line. Riley comes up and makes the touch, but there is a penalty here to New Zealand.
We saw this in some earlier games. It's that right side of the field where players are getting caught offside, so they'll just want to make sure they comply with the referee's expectations. Marshall
Barton needs to take on the line. Come back to the 7-metre line. New Zealand come back towards the midfield. Monroe puts it through the hands, receives it back. It's a late ball at the line. Monroe from half. Nice ball, bit of space. The recovery from Australia to slide across and make the touch. Just losing a little bit of ground. Playing outside the 7, coming against the grain, just letting the ball do the work, but not too many options there coming in towards the back end of the set. We just need to again get that good clean the ball, but pushing through into the defensive line. Penalty here now to Australia. Contact coming in from the side.
Referees making their statement known early that, hey, we want to manage the level of physicality in this game. We saw on Friday's game at times, the intensity lifts. So let's see if the discipline can maintain.
Press switch. Punches forward. This is a nice roll downfield here for the Australians. Oh, Duff just throws one over the top of the head. So apart from the tap-off play from the Australians, when they've gotten down towards touch 4 and 5, they haven't really been super clean as of yet. Just a couple of little areas to be able to tidy up.
And for New Zealand, the defensive reads, especially coming from that left side wing, have been really good when they've lifted off the line. Now we can see here Australia applying pressure, just leaving as a team to put pressure on the New Zealand team as they transition into the field.
Yeah, and you can see it's forcing New Zealand to make changes around behind the 10-metre line. A little bit of ball work coming into the last touch. We'll just see them get over the halfway line. Nice little pick up and go from half. And they end up picking up a couple of extra cheap meters on the back end of it. Although there was a penalty given to Australia. So they got themselves out of a little bit of trouble. And Australia going to restart and tap on the 10-metre line.
Yeah, unfortunately the compromise with going wide earlier is it takes you away from whatever the process was for your settle plan. And so there was still a little bit of confusion at the end on touch 4 and 5 about where the New Zealand players were supposed to be standing on attack.
Another penalty given from New Zealand. Players being caught short. Retrieving back. Onside. Sykes. And they come back in her direction, Ashurst, but the outside in defence from New Zealand's been really good so far. And Sykes plays it again. Again, not too many options for them. Fifth and final touch. Takes a bit of footwork there from Sykes off the fingertips. Is it held on to? Yes, it is. Well, that is a fair effort. Charlotte Vandermeer had a lot of work to do. And I was just touching on in the lead-up. Nothing doing. Footwork from Taylor Sykes creates space down the left-hand side of the field.
And defensively on the fifth touch, New Zealand did what they needed to do in terms of lifting. Sometimes all it takes is just some unique individual brilliance, and we can see that there from Sykes. Manages to get around, and then just the fingers from Vandermeer just to hold on to position and then dot the ball down just over the line in time.
100% had a lot of work to do. First to catch it, to reel it in, and then when she landed on the ground, she was actually short, and then almost army crawling her way to the try line to get the first points on the board for Australia. Little switch there, Forbes makes back-to-back touches. New Zealand get it away before the touch was affected. Karina, ball in hand. It's a clean play, the ball down. Fifth and final touch here for New Zealand against the grain. Looping ball just holds up in the breeze. And Vandermeer scored down the other end. Picks the ball off. Forward pass. And Australia attack with Sykes. Go through the hands. And the meters there on the first touch. Half in place for them though. Sykes gets caught on the boots. She'll pop back up to her feet and played on the halfway line. Captain Kiala Duff rolling forward. O'Reilly switches in. And Jessica Crow picks up good meters. O'Reilly and Duff have got a great combination. Beautiful little ball off the hip. And Izzy Reid rolls over for another try to the Australian team, and they're up by 2.
Great finish there by Australia. You can see defensively Liana Marshall-Barton just putting her hand up and saying, oops, that was my bad. I was caught out defensively. I was too far in the field. And the depth and timing as well on the pass was just pinpoint, and all that space in the world for Australia to cross over for their second.
New Zealand will be looking to inject themselves back into the game here. Haven't been able to trouble the scoreboard as of yet. Play now on the 7-metre line. Jasmine Munro comes back infield. APYTC. And on the 7-metre line, Munro comes back her way. Play on's the call. Players offside. They will earn themselves a penalty. Australia been called short of the line on a couple of occasions in the early stages of this match.
Yeah, let's see if New Zealand continue to attack this point of the field, which is the left-hand side for them. You see Jasmine Munro just having another crack at the line here.
It's on the Australians onside. New Zealand to get a little bit of shape. A little bit flat at the moment as Lister comes back infield. Corley, the captain. And she goes again. Look up at the referee. No offside players this time around. Lister and Macaulay in the middle of the field. Gemma Rokoff makes her way onto the park. Here she is. Fifth and final. Just needed to get that one down cleanly on the deck, and they can't capitalise on the last touch of the set.
Yeah, really nice defence there from Australia. The Lynx standing on a high position there, in particular number 9 there, Izzy Reid. Just entertaining the New Zealand defence to come towards her, but then the middle pushes forward and makes a touch instead.
And here is Reid pushing the ball through to Duff down the sideline. And the Australians go yet again. This gives some opportunity for Prestwich to come out of the interchange area. Ollie Ruff goes forward. They switch again. Bump ball. Short ball to Forbes, who gets through the 2 defenders from New Zealand and can't get across in time. Lovely football from the Australians. Good ball work. And let's see them go over for their third.
They've transitioned their momentum from a really good defensive set all the way through the field to score at the other end of the field through Hannah Forbes. Again, just really good ball movement. Players standing at depth and getting the really good timing here on the passing. And a great finish as well from Hannah Forbes.
So handy margin early for the Australians, up by 3. Marshall Barton receives it, has a look. They are on outside shoulders, but nice slide defence again. Forbes scored down the other end. Makes the final touch of the set. Takes the first hit up here for the Aussies. Playing through the middle in the second touch, so let the ball do the work now. Nice inside pass back to Raft. Over the halfway line they go with Rogers, who feeds it back to Vandermeer. He sees herself infield. Ashurst, nice out ball. Sykes comes off the left foot, straight back into the defence. Duff and Sykes in the middle for Australia. Ashurst sweeps, gets it. Ball out in front and gets on the outside of the New Zealand defence. Lauren McCurley goes over for a try. And it was a lovely ball again. Like I said, just went out in front into space, and McCurley just gave her the opportunity to get on the outside shoulder of the New Zealand defender.
Yeah, that's the key there, just getting on the outside shoulder. The New Zealand defenders just caught a gain in field there. But equally, just strong attacking lines coming through from Australia, which makes it really difficult to defend a great try again from McCurley.
And a mistake off the restart for New Zealand. So they just need to get a little something going, New Zealand, and get themselves into the match. Mistakes like that do hurt. And the ball work for Australia. It's helping them transition down the field. Out in front of Ruff. A rare mistake there from the Australians. So New Zealand making changes yet again. A bit flat coming out of the box. Now punching through the middle, McCauley plays it as Rowcroft picks up and goes. Can't get on the outside.
Strong defense there from Jessica Crow. And equally, now moving forward with the ball in hand.
Australia again down through the middle of the field as they played on the halfway line. Fifth and final for them now. As Duff goes across field, ball out in 2 hands and pushing through the hole, Izzy Reid, and crosses over for another try. They can't stop the running game of the ball work of the Australians at the moment, the New Zealanders.
Strong adjustment from Australia. I think they were caught unaware that it was fifth touch, but they still had the capability of shifting it through their hands. A nice little red play, Kiala Duff, the instigator on that one, and feeding Izzy Reid just through the gap here we can see. Beautiful ball movement.
And ball out in 2 hands, and speed just getting on the outside of her defender. Just causes that short period of doubt there for the New Zealand defence. And the captain for the Aussies being influential in the early stages of this game. New Zealand just handing possession back to the Australians. They just looked a little bit shell-shocked at the moment, the Kiwis, don't they? There's not too much coming out of their interchange box. They're a bit shell-shocked in the early stages of this grand final.
The focus again, like we mentioned at the start of the game, was on slowing down the momentum at the sort of touch 2 to 4, but it's still not doing enough because Australia still have those weapons to finish off in the end.
The amazing thing about our sport, though, is how quickly you can regain just a little bit of control and momentum just by something really minor, and it might be around that where you see the Australians give away possession, but New Zealand, 4 interchanges coming onto the field. Poor Alicia McCoy there was having a look around, waiting for those replacement players to come on. It's Paibenga. Sends it back in the middle of the field. Munro plays it outside the 7. 5th and final touch for them now. After the wraparound play, it just feels like every time they get the ball, there's a green and gold jersey in front of them at the moment.
The timing from Australia defensively is really tight. Sykes there and Demi Ashurst just doing so much work in the middle of the field. It takes all those options away from New Zealand.
In Australia there, a little rare mistake for them. No acting half in place. They just gave the opportunity for New Zealand to get up out of the defensive line, but Australia recovered pretty well. Again, back-to-back efforts where no half is in place. They've still managed to create the numbers down the left-hand side of the field. And streaking away, Caitlin Blade. Probably the most disappointing try, you'd have to say. Well, still trying to be respectful for New Zealand there, because Australia really didn't deserve, after those 2 times they had no acting half in place, they still managed to create something down this left-hand side of the field.
Yeah, 6 tries for Australia, but 3 of them have come on the 5th touch. So the effort's there for 80 to 90% of the set, but they've got to be able to finish them off too defensively.
Well, they need a little spark here, New Zealand. Again, looking for offside players. Gemma Rowcroft coming into the line. Cooley plays it outside the 7-metre line. Early ball out in front. Just dips away. And Gemma Rowcroft in the middle of the field here for New Zealand's taking a bit of a tumble. Good sportsmanship. You can see on screen, Linus looks a little bit ginger.
Yeah, it's good to see her get to her feet. We've had a few players that have gone down over the weekend, of course. Player safety always #1 importance.
They get replacement player on. And Aya Karina comes on the field. And we'll keep an eye out on Gemma Rowcroft, still making her way off the back of the field at the moment. Can ill afford to go a player down here in New Zealand, so fingers crossed that she can make it back out onto the park. This press switch, it's Australia towards the 10-metre line. Forbes decides to hold it. They put the ball through the hands and they'll turn the ball over. A little bit more positive in defence there from New Zealand. They need to punch downfield. Strong contact on the first touch from press switch. Plays short again, but you can see New Zealand making changes. And having to hold the ball up while those changes came on was Meffin. And there's the last touch, and they're just going to roll over the halfway line now. As you see a nice ball out to the right-hand side of the field. And they picked up an extra 10 metres. And every metre is crucial at the moment for New Zealand.
Australia sticking to some really sound processes defensively. Caitlin Presswood just being a real leader for them in the middle of the field there while she's on defence, and it gives them a good platform to transition on their attacking players here.
Ashurst plays it. Sykes running through offside players, gets into the in-goal area, goes back to Demi Ashurst. Lovely footy there from the Australian teams. Australian players, I should say. And it was fitting that both Ashurst and Sykes were the ones that finished that one off. It was great play running into the line from Ashurst to start it. Sykes goes through from half and Ashurst backs up again to put it across the paint.
Yeah, we can see that the defending player is just not quite on side, so she makes her way through the gap. For New Zealand, they'll take some consolation, and that's the first time that Australia's actually been able to break their line through the middle. Most of the tries have come from the wing, so as long as they can stay consistent defensively, they're still in with a shot for a few tries here.
Back in towards the middle of the field. Corey puts it through the hands. Playbanger will play it. Victim final for them. And nothing available for New Zealand. Touch and pass penalty. And Taylor Sykes will take the tap. The bright pink and yellow boots on. And she goes again. Through their hands, and Izzy Reid gets caught in. And we've seen this a number of occasions throughout the first half. And both teams, to be fair, when they're making changes, poor old acting half just has to hold the ball up, waiting for support players. That took a little deflection off the head. Ball down. Good call from the referees. They'll actually not even signal that the pass was forward. So getting much upfield. Didn't see the end signal from the on-field referees, but ball back in possession here for New Zealand. It's a bit of a better run there from Bella Lister. They can't back it up on the next play. We've got another New Zealand player down in the back plate. The referees might hold the ball up. Yep, they'll pull it up now.
Yeah, it looks like Riley Piping has just taken an injury to her right leg. She's finding it really difficult to get to her feet, so this is not a good sign for New Zealand. We're hoping that it's nothing too serious, but of course the referees have just paused time for now.
Yeah, not in a comfortable position. with that injury, he was trying gallantly to try and get up and get over to the interchange area. It just shows the commitment still to, continue the play on, knowing that she was trying to get to the sideline so replacement players could come on the field. I'm just having a look at the replay here as Bella Lister rolls forward. I think it might be a collision between players. And Jamie Meffin coming on at the same time. And sometimes that's just what you need in these big games, and they might get some inspiration from her if she is able to manage to get back out on the field. But let's see how this second half unfolds. They need a bit of spark and some energy here, New Zealand, and it might be able to come straight from the start for them. And they'll get a repeat set. What's the call? Interesting to see. I haven't quite seen a signal there from the on-field referee.
Yeah, the referee said that the touch came before the recount, so the dummy half call was made.
Mistake from Australia. A good opportunity here from New Zealand, but although they didn't come up with a point, you could definitely see that they came out of the halftime break with a little bit more energy. They need to continue on now. Press in the middle of the field. Back down the left-hand side and play on. This is exactly what they needed. So we saw it in the first half quite a number of times. Australia were caught short. And positions like that where, New Zealand weren't really throwing much attack in Australia. They need to get back on the line. It's good awareness though and get the opening points of the game.
Yeah, early in the touch count, New Zealand were just trying to compress the Australian defence. I don't think that necessarily was their first option, but it was great awareness there from Lanaya Cardina to just listen to the referee's offside call, play through the advantage and dot down for New Zealand's first try.
Australia, they've got numbers out here on the left-hand side of the field, and O'Reilly puts the ball through the hands. And if New Zealand are any chance of being able to get themselves back into the game, they just can't go try for try here with Australia.
Yeah, unfortunately, a table tennis match is what we don't want to get into. The defensively, well, actually, let's start with the attack. Look at this ball here from Maggie O'Reilly. Flows probably over 20 metres just to the wing. Perfectly timed, great spacing out there on the wing as well. And so New Zealand will be disappointed not to be able to stop that one after scoring the first try of the half.
A try scored from Caitlin Blade on the try to her name in this grand final. They've got numbers out here on the right-hand side. Nice ball work. They put the brakes on and come back infield. Tapuni offloads. And Munro steadying the ship. Nice, cool, calm heads here for New Zealand. They're on the run. Back out to Tapuni, and they come back and earn themselves a penalty. Again, positive football from New Zealand in that set.
Yeah, they're moving the ball a lot more freely and with a lot more freedom in the second half. If they can keep shifting the Australian defence from the right to the left, those gates in the middle of the field are actually going to continue to be open, and they'll be able to score.
Lister steps in field on the run, takes him on herself. Having to get across. O'Reilly set up the try down the other end. This time pulling on a big defensive stop. Jasmine Munro plays it well outside the 7 metre. And it just stops the flow here for New Zealand. And they've lost the count as a consequence of that. And hand the ball straight back to Australia. Forbes out in front. So there's been some pretty uncharacteristic mistakes here for Australia. That's back-to-back efforts when they're coming out of their end of the field that they've turned the football straight back over to New Zealand.
And these are gifts because it's not common that Australia give you 2 errors in their half. So New Zealand really want to capitalise from this.
Cardina plays it, receives it back, holds, redirects traffic. McCauley again working in the middle, flat-footed at the moment. New Zealand as they look to get players in motion. Bartlett was looking to sweep, holds the position, gets it now. Sends it back. Players are onside. Last touch. And they chance their hand. They come out to the left-hand side and they'll finish off their set with Alicia McCoy. No options for them on that last attacking set. Australia, they'll just be looking to be a bit cleaner transitioning out of their end of the field this time around. As Duff plays it through the hands. It has been cleaner on the first 3 touches. Duff out the back to Forbes. Gets him over the halfway line. Ashurst picks up good meters. Sykes tries to take advantage. Gets a shot off the ball. And we'll get the repeat set. Taylor Sykes pops straight back up to the feet.
We spoke about in the first half Australia playing eyes-up footy. It was the same case there. They saw the winger flying early. They managed to get extra metres by pushing the ball out wider, and now in a good position here.
Sykes sends it out nice and early. The touch has been claimed. The referees will point to the spot, and Vandermeer goes over for another try here to the Emus.
Those recount calls on the line are probably the most difficult call to make and touch, and unfortunately New Zealand weren't on the winning side of that one. It presented an opportunity for Australia just to go to their set piece, and a great try in the corner. Through their hands, Vandermeer, another one.
The home score now 9-1. 2-1 in the second half for Australia. It's New Zealand looking to hit back yet again. Nice dive in at the line. They come back to the 7 metre. Looking to set up towards the back end. Tapuni in the half. They come against the grain. Tapuni has a little bit of a look up. And Ashes comes up to make the touch. Australia now with Forbes. Sykes having to take a couple extra steps to get over to the acting half position. Australia again holding the ball up as the changes make their way onto the field. Jessica Crow now picks up good metres in the middle. Duff, ball in two hands, gets into the in-goal area. Look for support. O'Reilly's back on the inside. Too good.
Emus try, number 4, Maggie O'Reilly.
Their ability to play what's in front of them is the most impressive aspect of this Australian team. New Zealand defensively in the middle were quite sound. Unfortunately, Jasmine Munro on that occasion was just called offside, and it created this extra space just here that you can see that Kiala Duff had enough space to pick up and through. And then she just teams up with O'Reilly for another try for Australia.
And two of the most experienced players there combining for this Australian team, while it's still an under-20s team as we see New Zealand attacking. Kiala and Maggie playing at a high level for the Sydney Scorpions team and played a lot of football together. They've been in a lot of national finals already at such a young age, and they're taking that experience straight out onto the field here in the green and gold. We see a loose ball across the sideline. Australia will tap here on the 7th. O'Reilly, first touch. It's a good opportunity here for New Zealand to get up and try to put some pressure on. And it's good contact, and they earn the right to get the ball back. Solid defence. Just got to feed off that now, New Zealand. Loose ball out in front. Cooley did a good job to hold on to it. Play on's the call. Looking for a penalty. Offside. There was definitely players called offside. New Zealand flat-footed here. They need to get someone going forward and get a good clean play, the ball down. Marshall Barton is back in field. New Zealand again retrieving. Last touch for them now. Better run from Marshall Barton. Beautiful ball over the top and caught. Referees are going to take it off them. So unfortunate.
Yeah, that was really enterprising play. I like that. It looked initially like they were going to come back left, and then Marshall Barton on the sweep, and then the long ball unfortunately just went forward according to the referees. But again, another error from Australia coming out of transition.
And we see the replay of the call. You naturally think when you can see a winger pushing forward, arms extended, McCoy there, having to really reach for the ball. But it still needs to come out of the hands backwards, so it was a chance. But the defence, particularly on the first couple of touches from New Zealand when Australia have been trying to get towards the interchange area, has been really strong, and it's given them the opportunity to have decent cracks at the Australian line. There's only so much defence you can do. The Australians are being tested at the moment. New Zealand, nothing there for them in the middle of the field. This is the last touch for them. Tapunic from half. Out the back. Put the ball through the hands, and it finishes off with Bella Lister. Can they continue to be strong here in the touch? New Zealand. Duff manages to get it away. There's that good contact. Ben McCoy's been really good for the Kiwis out there in defence. Again, she comes up and puts good contact, but it's good technique, isn't it? And you can see just hips were open, just a little bit of pressure on the shoulder. It forces the mistake, and the Australians now getting frustrated themselves in defence. Give the penalty back. It's great defence from McCoy.
That's right, and remembering that New Zealand are down on a few players, so they're spending a little bit extra time out there on the field. So the work that Alicia McCoy's doing is making a really big impact on the way that they're playing tonight.
Almost caught with 7 players on the field there, New Zealand. And should sneak one away as McCoy does make her way back out onto the park. He's on the left-hand wing this time around. As Marshall Barton get herself into half. They'll learn themselves. Oh, it came off the hands of one of the Australians as they ball down.
Yeah, we spoke about it before. Recounts are the hardest call to make in touch, and unfortunately the referee saw otherwise, that the Australian player was going for the touch.
A bit cleaner this time around, but they're still having to make their changes down their end of the field. They're just getting over the halfway line now. As press switch will get a nice clean play of the ball on the 5th and final. They got numbers on the left, over the top of the head from Duff and out of the fingertips there of Caitlin Blade.
Yeah, unfortunate end for Australia because they managed to break the press that New Zealand were applying in the middle of the field. And now New Zealand's turn to get the fresh legs on. Of course, it's needed.
New Zealand pleading with the referees for a penalty. They don't get one on this occasion so far. As Bartlett plays it, skipping across field is Munro, and he gets caught in possession. Australia will take their time and head back to the mark. Get things back underway. Pressbridge going forward on the first touch. Australia put it through the hands. Rogers sending it across. Duff and does the same. Launches back on the infield. It's Forbes. It's the Australians over the halfway line. Nice roll coming forward from Ashurst. Sykes just couldn't quite pick it up cleanly enough. Decent position to start here for New Zealand. Oh, it's gone forward, unfortunately. We've made mention throughout the tournament just how important the first touch is. They didn't progress forward at any stage, and it just flowed off the back, and just a pass that just probably needed to be held onto and shifted out the back.
Yeah, timing and intensity was just missing from New Zealand there. After they've done all the good work on defence, it's important to stay in the game until you're off.
Contact on Forbes, opens it up. Oh, Sykes off the right foot, goes straight through the middle. Fantastic individual try there from Taylor Sykes.
Marshall Barton meeting the task. She raised up to make that touch against Sykes, but just the individual brilliance there. Footwork incredible. And she steps off the right, and then, as we can see, coming up here in the replay, bang, and just able to sneak in between the two defenders.
That's the perfect scenario. You want to be getting the ball on the run and on the out, particularly if you've got a right foot weapon in the back pocket, as Sykes does have. Strolls over for a grand final try to her name. New Zealand looking for options. Bartlett plays it. Cartena from half. Nice ball. Falls in the hands. They will get a penalty here, New Zealand. Again, Australians offside on the line. New Zealand from the restart. Again, in contact on McCoy. Good opportunity, Corona. Rolling through. No options out on the right-hand side of the field. Bartlett working in the middle. Now they punch the short ball. Looping over the top. Looking for a Lister to punch through and link hole. There's good defensive pressure there from the Australians.
Yeah, led there by Jess Crow. Someone we haven't mentioned a lot in today's game, but she's really doing her job defensively in the middle.
That's out ball. And what's that young lady, Crow? Who threw it, just heading over to the interchange area. Now to get a breather. Good meters from Reed. Presswich has time up her sleeve. Forbes from half picks up right foot, puts the brakes on, and a good touch though coming across. APYTC had work to do, but got across and got it done.
And this is the important phase now. Again, we've got the ball on the ground for too long there for New Zealand. Just being careful of making sure that our players with the ball in hand aren't isolated as we've got new legs coming on.
Marshall Barton. That's it forward. Jasmine Monroe. It's over the halfway line. Tapuni now plays it. Fifth and final. Monroe feeds it. A bit of room to work with. Goes back on the inside. Presswich is there to make the touch. Under 5 minutes to go here in the women's 20s. Gold medal match. New Zealand looking for the no touch. Penalty to Australia. Tap and restart with Reed. And back on the inside to Rogers. Good pressure coming up out of the line from Mustian. Comes up and makes another touch. Ashurst. Plays it on the 7. Duff from half. Loops over the top and just gets over the head of the New Zealand defender. Too much space and too much class there from Kiala Duff.
And when those two attacking weapons, Sykes and Duff, are on the field at the same time, it really rings alarm bells. Just a great dump here. And then just a couple of steps is all that she needs in terms of space to throw that long ball across to other players to get it in the corner to Caitlin Blade for another try for Australia.
And their 12th try of the game. What a clinical performance that the Australians have put on here in the women's 20s grand final. Can New Zealand finish off strongly? Looking for their second try of the game. McCauley back in field. We go away from Lister. Early ball out in front and just hits the boots of Jamie Meffin out here on the left-hand side of the field.
That was the right intent there because the link was high and made the touch. New Zealand just weren't running the right lines to make that an opportunity. But fortunately for Australia, they turned the ball over at the same point.
Nice ball. Yeah, Brooke McCauley, the captain, linking up nicely with Lister, and they do finally capitalise on that repeat set from the mistake for Australia. And that was good early football as well, letting the ball do the work. Nice try.
Yeah, of course, Kiala Duff was the one involved in that previous set, so she'd done a lot of work defensively, and it looks like McCauley spied that opportunity. Early release here to Bella Lister, and the space was just opened up perfectly for her to dive over.
Second try of the game scored from New Zealand. And they hold out defensively again. There was good pressure coming in from the outside. McCoy getting the job done yet again for New Zealand in defence. Good energy here for New Zealand. This is cleaner. As they've had issues and they get a penalty. A much better intent, that drive coming out.
Yeah, and it started from before the first touch as well. They were running with intent. They were running really strong lines. And they got to the points where they wanted to on the field.
Under 2 minutes to go. Can New Zealand strike again? Finish off their campaign in positive fashion. Yeah, a little bit of space out here for Lister to work with. Puts the brakes on. And play it on the 7. Last touch for them now. Diving in at the line. They get a penalty. And not moving forward. So New Zealand won't have the opportunity to finish with possession and hopefully a try. Karana plays it, receives it back, tries to take the Australian defence on. Jessica Crow comes up and makes the touch. Monroe from half. So switch in. Mataidi feeds it. Karana, stutter step, looping ball up in the air and it hits the deck. Unfortunately, just didn't come out of the hands as cleanly as what she would have liked on that occasion.
But also the gates and the opportunity in front of her just weren't open. And that just is a credit to the Australian defence there. Maggie O'Reilly and, of course, Jess Crow again.
Here is O'Reilly on the first touch. Crow takes another hit up forward as Forbes puts it through the hands. Vandermeer. Reaching. Izzy Reed. Offloads. Nice meters going forward. Rogers. Press switch from half. Loops over the top. Amazing hands. No, just hits the deck.
Unfortunate in there because it looked like from our perspective that she'd caught the ball fully, but the referee said no, it hit the ground first.
New Zealand coming out of their end of the field. Clock starting to wind down in this game. It's just a tough ball to be able to take. From poor old Bella Lister and Australia's blood. Well, they were going to have one last final crack, which they did, but good intent there for New Zealand to come back on the inside. But a clinical performance from the Australians here in the women's 20s grand final. 12-2 the final score. Too good on the day.
Yeah, some slight improvements in the second half for New Zealand, particularly defensively, but when you've just got so much star power like Australian Emus do, it's really hard to combat that over and over again. The pressure just continues to mount, so full credit to the Australian Emus, not just for their ability to score 12 tries, but defensively, they're just so strong.
We'll head